We're back. Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow across the OutKick network. John McClain is a legend. We waste no time when he's on and ready to go with us. And a legendary performance by the Texans defense last night, John. They were all over Josh Allen. The Bills had no answers. Were you as surprised with that outcome as I was?
Let's see, Cadillac. The Texans beat them 23-20 last season in Houston. This one was 23-19. And in that game, Josh Allen had the worst game since his rookie season. In this one, he had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. After the first drive, the Texans defense only gave up 2 field goals and 245 yards. But I've never seen a relentless pass rush like that against a great quarterback. Will Anderson Jr., 2.5 sacks. Danielle Hunter had 2. The Texans right now are allowing fewer yards per game than any team since 2010. They also lead in fewest points. The defense gave up 1 touchdown last night. Defense has 11 interceptions, and they've given up 10 touchdowns, so maybe we should not be surprised. But I have not seen the Texans have that kind of dominant pass rush from start to finish. They came in with only 25 sacks.
So going into the season in the AFC, John, I think most would say, you're just looking at the top contenders, Chiefs, who won the conference a year ago, Ravens, and Bills with Josh Allen. I'd put it as the top 3. Rank those 3 teams right now. I have a hard time figuring out what any of those 3 are other than the Ravens seem to be figuring it out right now on this winning streak.
Well, the Ravens got healthy. That was the key to their early downfall. Texans put 44 on an injury-depleted defense early in the season in Baltimore. And the Chiefs have that post-Super Bowl loser blues. Super Bowl losers generally struggle the next season, but nobody wants to play Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen in the playoffs, notwithstanding what happened to Josh Allen last night. But I would still say the Ravens are in the best position to make the playoffs because their division is terrible. And it's hard to believe the Chiefs are not going to at least get a wild card. I'll know more because the Texans' next 2 games are at Indy and at Kansas City. And it's just hard to imagine, Chad, like the playoffs without Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. And right now, you'd think the odd man out would be Patrick Mahomes because they have a 500 record.
Love getting that Cadillac drop every time. John, the Bears seem for real, but I'm not completely convinced right now at 7-3. They host the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers with a broken left wrist, and they're a slight favorite at home. How big is this game for the validity of the Bears moving forward?
Hey, if you like the channel, become a season ticket holder for Hot Mike by clicking the subscribe button below and join the conversation in the comments section. Agree, disagree, we'll join you there in the chat. Now back to Hot Mike.
It is. They've been winning a lot of close games, and that's good. And Caleb Williams is doing some extraordinary things, but, they're trying to go from worst to first every year. There's a team that goes from worst to first. Maybe it'll be the Bears. Ryan Poles took a lot of grief about being the general manager and some of the moves he made, but what he's done should be a blueprint for what the Titans do around Cam Ward. Get the quarterback weapons. And I think the Bears will win this game. If Rodgers was 100% and he had not had the injury, then I'd think maybe Pittsburgh has a chance. But maybe the Steelers can do to them. Remember that great game they had earlier in the season when they just, I think, destroyed, was it the Colts they beat real bad? Daniel Jones had a terrible game. You can't count them out because of their defense.
John, Cincinnati and the Patriots this weekend. Jamar Chase, though. I mean, how dumb do you have to be to claim you didn't do something that, with all the cameras in the NFL, they're going to catch you spitting on someone every single time, right? Like, I don't understand guys' willingness to just sit there and lie to everyone and say, oh, no, I didn't do that.
Well, obviously, he's a dumbass. And then to predicate his plea, his appeal, well, if I'd have wanted to spit on him, I would have spit in his face. That's scum. That's scummy. And I never thought anything like that about Jamar Chase before. And I don't know what this deal is about players spitting on each other. It started first game of the season when Jalen Carter that got kicked
Jalen
out
Carter, yep.
before they played against the Cowboys because he spat on Dak Prescott, and there was a University of Florida player who cost the Gators a game against South Florida by spitting on a player. What is the deal about spitting? What happened to the good old-fashioned take a punch at him?
Yeah, I would take a couple Florida players spitting on some Tennessee players would help them win this Saturday. So spit away if it means a 15-yard penalty every time. Hey, Vikings-Packers in Green Bay this weekend, John. Packers need to get it going. This is the time where they've got to pick it up if they're going to be a threat.
They haven't looked like they looked earlier when they got off to that great start. People talking about Jordan Love going to be an MVP candidate. You know, the Vikings are struggling. You got J.J. McCarthy. It's like and this is just him right now. He could turn out to be great, but it's like you have a Mercedes body and you got a Volkswagen guy driving it. And he's got to be better. He's got to be more consistent. But I think the Packers are going to start to turn it on, especially at this time of the year. They can get really good at home. You know, the fans are praying for snow and bad weather just like they do in Buffalo. I think the Packers will win this one handily.
Colts Chiefs, speaking of teams got to get it going, it's Kansas City. They're a slight home favorite against Indianapolis. John, I hesitate to say must win, but feels like a must win for Kansas City.
Absolutely. It's a must win, Chadlack. They can't have a losing record at this point of the year. All of Houston and all of Texans fans are cheering for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs because the Texans play at Indy next week. If the Chiefs win, and then the Texans were to upset the Colts, they'd be one game behind the Colts. And the Texans would then be playing Arizona and the Raiders. In the last game of the season, to be determined, the time and the date is Indianapolis at Houston. So I still think Indy's going to win the division. They're too good. But the key for the Chiefs, and they know it, Jim Spagnuolo goes it, you have to contain Jonathan Taylor and make Daniel Jones beat you.
John, I'm hearing a lot and reading a lot about Robert Saleh being a legitimate head coaching candidate in this next cycle, and that the pairing of him and Mike McDaniel could be a possibility for a team out there as his offensive coordinator. When you look back at Robert Saleh with the Jets, does what happened with Ulbrich and what's happening this year with the Jets change your opinion of his time there, even though the record wasn't good, and maybe makes it look a little bit better than it was?
Well, I'm partial to Robert because he was with the Texans for 6 years. He was so far down the line, you needed to get a microscope to figure out what he did. But he worked 1 year for Dom Capers and then 5 years for Gary Kubiak, did a great job as the 49ers defensive coordinator when he became the Jets head coach. And it seemed like the Jets pulled the plug on him a little too soon. He and McDaniels are close. McDaniel loves the guy, I think. But would Saleh leave Kyle Shanahan being the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, a perennial contender for a team that could get the head coach could be fired next season? I don't see that happening.
Eagles Cowboys this weekend, John. Is A.J. Brown worth it at this point? He's not been good at all this year. And I know he talks, he's always sullen and blames the offense and talks about how bad the offense has been, which is true with the Eagles compared to the defense. But is he worth it at this point?
I think absolutely he's worth it because you saw him when he was great when he first came into the NFL.
If he could get back to that, yes, he is. But I mean, right now, I'm not so sure.
One-on-one, they're winning. You know, you get in the playoffs, you're going to need A.J. Brown. I think they'd be stupid you can't trade him now. They're not going to cut him. And I read a story yesterday coming out of Philly that the problems with him and Jalen Hurts extend away from football. I have no idea what that would be. Don't even know if it's true. But there's obviously problems there. And you know Nick Sirianni's doing everything he can. And Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, met with him and asked him to quit complaining on social media. But, you know, he's supposed to be a good team guy. You're winning close. Your offense is not playing good. Just put a lid on it and do everything you can to win back-to-back Super Bowls.
John, are you going to put your name in the hat for athletic director at your alma mater now that Mack Rhoades has stepped down from Baylor?
I told him thank you, but I was not going to enter that race for Mack Rhodes. He's gone. There's several candidates, Jeremiah Dickey at Boise State, who was with Mack Rhodes at Baylor and went out there in 21. North Texas has had a great renaissance. The AD there, Jared Mosley, was the head of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in Waco for 3 years. And so there's a lot of candidates. I don't know enough about ADs to know who they would go after, but I want Dave Aranda fired, and I want Eric Morris at North Texas State to be their next head coach.
One more Texas football thing I want to ask you about. Steve Sarkisian gets really pissed off if anyone mentions him with the NFL. Diana Rossini did it, and then Desmond Howard did it. And each time, one time he released an official statement. The next time he goes on his teleconference and blasts, I don't think he calls Desmond Howard out by name, but talks about someone else saying he's going to leave. And he makes it plain. He's like, I am not leaving Texas. Do you buy it?
Absolutely. Why would an NFL team want to hire Steve Sarkisian as a head coach?
And why would he leave Texas if it's for another college job also?
Well, he wouldn't. He's already making $10.5 million. That's just his base salary. He's got more NIL money than any school in the league. And yes, they've been a big disappointment. But that might have been the media's fault for rating Arch Manning for the Heisman Trophy and the first overall pick in the NFL draft. And now we look like idiots.
Blame the media. I love the question he got about, do you feel like you've underachieved this year? Now that you're out of the playoff race? And he said, underachieved based on what? And based on that you're the preseason number one team. And I think his response was, we played four top 10 teams or something like that, which always makes me laugh. John McClain, future Baylor athletic director, has been our guest here on the show. John, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, my man.
Cadillac's always a pleasure for me. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend. And I'm guessing next Thursday we won't be on, so I wish you happy Thanksgiving unless we talk before that. May
your turkey be plentiful, John McClain. That's my solemn wish for you on this Thanksgiving week. Thank you so much, sir. John McClain, one of the best, Hall of Famer, possible future. I would even give him the presidency at Baylor at this point. Why not?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to OutKick Hot Mic.
Daily content and more at OutKick Hot Mic on YouTube.